Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. On today's show, we have Brian Brandis of Satco Products. Man, he's got an interesting job. Guy's in charge of marketing and product development. Whew, he's just like cooking up schemes. That's right. He's cooking up his schemes for 20, 30 years in the game. So Brian Brandis came on the show right out of Satco Products in Long Island, New York. Good times. Thank you for having us. What a warm welcome we had from Satco. Go to satco.com. Brian Brandis, he does the light thing. He does the right thing, Greg.
That's right. And now more than ever, you got to check that website out because it's brand new. When we were there a couple months ago, they were talking about they're going through it. And can you imagine putting a website together for everything they have? When we walked that warehouse, stacked to the ceiling, there's hundreds of thousands of different lights. They're not just an LED company, they're a lighting company. Everything lighting Satco has, and it's now proven on their website too. You can check that out. Nice drop downs. It gives you Satco Nuvo fixtures, all their bulbs, everything. Check out satco.com.
You know, I would argue that Satco might be the most comprehensive lighting vendor in the game.
I'd say that's a fair argument, and I'm not going to argue against that.
And guess what? They're going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi with you and I hanging out, having fun at the NAIL convention. And the Satco experts, and I would say Satco is an expert on legacy product. They're going to be giving a presentation, Greg, called Legacy: The Future of Legacy Products. Wow, that's an interesting one for the lighting peeps out there. So Satco is going to give us a presentation on the future of legacy products. But for right now, we got Brian Brandis. He's in charge of everything marketing and product development at satco.com. He does the light thing. He does the right thing. Check him out. Welcome to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, Brian Brandis.
I'm happy to be here.
Here we are at Satco.
A long list to get onto this podcast.
Finally made it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. In terms of the lighting business, tell us a little bit about what you do for Satco, and then we're going to go into a little bit of your history in the lighting business. Is that okay?
Sure. Well, my current responsibility, my current title is Senior Vice President of Product Development and Marketing. So today, after nearly 30 years of being here, I kind of oversee all of our product direction, working with a team of people in different product categories, but overall product direction to see where we want to take the company, where we want to take our product categories, what we want to expand, and what new product categories we want to go into. And with that comes all of the, supplemental requirements to getting a product to market, whether, in data, in tech support, in educational, all the marketing pieces, all of the educational materials, data sheets, all that kind of falls under my responsibility.
That's a big animal.
I was going to say like product development, but I can see how product development would sort of feed into marketing. Yeah. Like as you're developing the products, you're kind of thinking about the market, how you're going to send them to market, how you're going to, how you're going to do your catalogs, how you're going to do your promotion and all that. I can see how those two would be the marketing would be an extension of the product development. Am I correct on that, by the way?
Well, actually, marketing would lead it.
Okay, it's the other way around.
Well, the marketing is our analysis of the marketplace, where we want, as I said, take the company product-wise, and making some, sales and marketing decisions, and then actually developing the product to meet the demand we want to create or answer a demand that.
How do you acquire that intelligence?
Well, we watch your podcast.
You watch the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast every week.
There's good intel out there. You can just open your eyes and ears, and you can learn a lot. What it could be from us attending trade shows. It could be reading publications. It's whether it's online or printed material. It's feedback from the field, from our sales managers, our customer service people. And we have people out doing counter days and training, and you get such valuable information back from the field when people are saying, well, I went in to present this to a customer, and he's buying X from this company and Y from that company, and there are opportunities for us, and they like to consolidate their purchasing. So you get that kind of feedback. How can we become more important to our customers, and developing programs that make sense to them there. And also when I travel overseas, when I'm at the factory levels, learning, technologies, capabilities, going to trade shows there as well. There's just, there are numerous outlets for getting intel to help make those decisions.
Now, in terms of the product development, are you actually diving into it scientifically and being like, all right, we can get to this point with this technology and we should do this? Or are you more the idea of it and then you have the factories, the scientists work on all
both?
You get into both.
It depends on the product category. There are things that we choose to develop and engineer and create and develop, the concept and all the tooling, certification, and everything that needs to fall in line for that product. That cost, that time, that responsibility falls on us. And then, then there could be other things in the market where it's readily available, and we have to decide where we source it. We may have certain requirements as far as efficiency, reliability, performance that we may put into an off-the-shelf product and tweak it and change it a little bit. The markets that we sell, whether it's, for example, Title 24 CEC certified product in California has certain sets of performance requirements that a regular off-the-shelf product may not have. So we may put those things into it and enhance it. But those are tweaks and changes, not ground-up construction.
And are you getting involved in the Nuvo side of Satco and Nuvo?
I actually created Nuvo, so yeah.
So those are two totally different. I mean, even though they're together, a decorative fixture is very different than a light bulb. In my
totally different conversation.
Yeah, but you have to be involved in both.
Two sides of the brain.
So I actually have a question about that applies to both in terms of product development. So you've been in the game 30 years.
30 years with Satco, but longer than that.
Okay, so how long you been in lighting for?
Just about 40.
40, you're not that.
He keeps getting.
So you started working when you were 6?
I actually, my first high school job was a stock boy in a lighting show.
Come on.
That's where I started.
Oh, man, wow. Okay, so you're kicking it. Well, you're kicking it old school. That might be the name, kicking it old school. So in the past, in the lighting business, you develop, like, say, CFLs, okay? And you develop this technology. It would take years to come to market, like, and then it would incrementally improve, right, after it came to market. So you go, you have a spiral lamp. You go from T3 to T2, right, something like that. And people can't even really tell the difference. And you can replace one with the other. It doesn't really matter and whatever, right? And so there's this idea that you're going to take a SKU, you're going to make it, you're going to put it on the shelf, and it's going to be sold for 40 years or 50 years or whatever. It's, in case of a 60-watt light bulb, 100 years, okay, of selling 60-watt light bulbs.
Good times.
Party time, bro. But I mean, now it's like with every iteration of a light bulb, it changes.
Absolutely.
Like that's product development is what you're talking about.
Well, it's product development and marketing because, the market is changing and has changed for the last 10 years or so at such a rate faster than anybody anticipated.
I think faster than the cell phone market even.
Well, I mean, everybody said that they would apply what's known as Moore's law. That
there's a Hates' law. Yeah, there's actually a law. It's called Hates' law.
Right. So a technology would double its ability every 2 years or so.
Sure.
So then it was when LED was in the early days. They were saying that was going to be the law that would apply to it, and it would keep improving itself over that time period. But
that's happened.
It's happened faster than that. We've seen it, at a 6-month pace that we've been turning generations of product. And as LED has matured and the technology has advanced and some of the big obstacles with, shape, size, performance, dimmability, all that have, kind of settled down. Now it really is a conversation about efficiency or efficacy of the product. And by making a more efficacious LED package, you're able to use fewer of them to achieve the light output. And what drives that is how to get the cost down.
Hates' law states that every decade, I think this is outdated, but every decade, the cost of per lumen unit of useful light emitted falls by a factor of 10. The amount of light generated per LED package increases by a factor of 20 for a given wavelength or color of light. That's Hates' law. So there you go. There's actually a law about it. Who knows if it's true or not. And then so you have that with the socketed bulbs or the replacement lamps, right? Then we were just talking to, is he the CEO or the president, Bill? Or both?
President.
He's the president. So we're talking to Bill, and it occurred to us that we've actually increased the lifetime of the light source but we've decreased the life cycle of the fixture.
Yes.
So you understand what I'm saying there?
Yep.
How does that affect product development? Is that a good thing for Satco? A good, like Bill was sort of benign on. He's like, well, people are just going to replace the fixture instead of replace the fixture every 10 years instead of replacing the bulb every 2 years or something like that. So it's just how the industry is going to work. Do you foresee that, or do you foresee a return to modularity, a return to the socket, or some iteration of a socket?
Well, that's a big question. And I have this discussion with customers and reps constantly, and when you're doing different jobs out there, and I would say the conversation I had with them 5 or 6 years ago, and the conversation I have with them today is 180 degrees in the other direction. And the conversation 5 or 6 years ago, was hesitation to put an integrated LED solution into a luminaire into a building. Unsure of its performance, unsure of its reliability, and what do I do with that product when something starts failing? When it's not an if, it's a when. Not everything. These are not forever. So it's a question of how the industry really wants to look at it, because when we first got into LED, we all looked at it. Is this the great opportunity of our industry to be able to change and change customers and consumers' perspective of what lighting is, and be able to be more proactive in selling new technologies to them.
Mm-hmm.
When you talked about the replacement lamps, the incandescent or traditional compact fluorescent or linear fluorescent lamps, legacy products as we've referred to them, that was a replacement business. The fixture, the luminaire stayed there. Maybe you serviced it with a ballast. Maybe you went in, relamped it when you had to relamp it. And the business muddled on. There wasn't anything that was dynamic or game changing or were big boost in the business and how you can grow your business or your distribution of any product. So when LED comes along and we get to the point of integrated solutions, that big hesitation, what do I do? Part of that is really just it. If you view it as an opportunity, the industry looks at it as an opportunity. People are buying new flat panel televisions every 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're buying cell phones every 2 years. They're buying new technology.
But that's consumer products. Lighting is not really a consumer product, especially in the commercials and industrial space.
Yeah, the hard part is because of the quantity of them. You have 10 resist cans in here instead of 1 for.
And it's not a consumer product. There's no, like, if that one's out and that one's out and the other ones are working fine.
Well, it depends on which market you're talking about.
Sure, yes.
If you're talking about end user consumers, they're what they're putting in, especially with connected products and technology and new generations of people are doing. They're looking. And they're used to changing things over.
Mm-hmm.
They move much more often than they used to. They don't stay in a place, so they're changing it over. On the commercial end of it, I saw that great hesitation, but the price on the product makes that hesitation go away.
You mean the reduction
of the cost of the integrated luminaires, whether it be troffers or panels or where the wall packs are today.
But we need some standardization so that people can put in, like the industry's got to come together. Then, if we're going to go that way and say this is what a 2x4 flat panel at 27K, this wattage, this is the light it should be, this is the color it should be. So in case someone needs to replace one, they can replace one without replacing the 45.
There were attempts to do that.
Were there?
The Zaga consortium.
We had D. Dentiner on. We talked to him. Zaga is a failure to launch, I think, in some ways.
Right. I'm saying there were great attempts to try and get standardization, modularization.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are conversations now, and I think Zaga was actually involved with it on the modularization of controls. So
we actually had a success with that plug thing on the port. Yeah.
Right. So we are looking at that because what you'd have to do up to that is carry inventory of all the different manufacturers' controls, whatever the systems that are being used, stock the product, and then set up a production line to open up everything, build the unit, and then distribute out from there, which is a big speed bump in the distribution part of it. So getting some standardization of that, we're all for that. We actually, in the early days of our LED integrated products, we actually had a joint venture with a Korean company that is an LED backlight company for flat panels and television. And we introduced, and we had a relationship with them for over 35 years because they used to be a manufacturer of our incandescent products. There actually was a GE joint venture, and then they bought out their interest and went into backlighting. So when we first launched into our LED product, we launched and created a brand name called Color One. This is back in 2009.
I remember that, yeah.
And so we had a great insight into LED, chip manufacturing, packaging, drivers, and created some great products in the beginning. On the lamp side of it, the issue was the competitiveness of Korea versus China, and products coming into the market and driving prices down. So that just by market situations kind of changed all that. But what we did in the beginning, and I actually have filed patents on these, I have modular light engines that we made for our fixtures that were kind of based on, and I recall doing this. I used back then my BlackBerry, not my iPhone, which had a replaceable battery.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and I opened up the phone and I said, here's how the battery goes in.
Yeah.
It's got contacts. I want the light engine to work the same way.
That's a great idea.
And so we sold it, we developed it, and it was a modular. I was calling it a brick back then, but it was just the light engine, the light module, and all you needed was a new version of what a socket is.
Yeah,
and then the light engine went into it, and we were all 100% committed to that, and we were making products and selling products at that point. Back in 2009.
Can you show me one of these bricks later on? Do you have one?
I don't know if I have it in this building, but I can probably get a picture up.
What was it? Was it the recessed can with a different, like you could change?
No, they were linear modules.
Oh, it was linear. Okay.
Had,
so what's interesting about that? It's interesting. So, I don't know if you ever studied poetry.
Not a real.
No. Okay. So the best poetry is written in sonnets, and sonnets have very, very clearly defined rules. Okay. It has to be written in iambic pentameter. It has to have 10 syllables per line. It has to be this many lines, and then it ends here. Right. And so if you compare that poetry to modern poetry, there's not even a comparison. Okay. Like the modern poetry is like a joke. It's like free flowing stream of consciousness mumbo jumbo. Really, that's what it is. Okay.
I didn't know we were getting this deep.
No, but hang on. So, but here's the thing. Because the structure was so strict, it forced beauty into it. People had to be extremely creative. Okay. So when you iron out some of the rules of the innovation, like say it has to be an iambic pentameter and it's not poetry, it's not a sonnet. The fact that, we've the incredible amount of innovation we've seen in the A19 space and the 4-foot T8 tube, simply because everybody knows that it has to be T8, it has to have medium bipin sockets, it's got to be 48 inches long, and it has to have less watts than a fluorescent tube, and it has to emit the same amount of light out. And once you set out all these rules, massive innovation, all the focus goes to hang on one second. All the focus goes to the innovation where it's needed. I just bored your battery here for a little bit. We're going to switch it back here. Come on. Let me make sure. Scott, did we lose you? No, we didn't. So there you go. There we are. We're back. So I was charging my thing on it. But yeah, so we can focus our innovation on where it matters. Right? And right now, the problem without Jaga, without some rules, people are all making their own circuit board. They're making everything different sizes. Like you're a brick. There's no set. If we could just agree to the mechanical form factors of this stuff, you could focus your innovation money, research and development money, and all your energy on where it's going to make the biggest difference. Do you not agree with that?
I agree with that, and that's what we attempted to do.
Right.
So Satco offers all the solutions. Mm-hmm. You want the replacement lamps. You want in any iteration, any size, any possible lamp to replace existing technology. Or today, the business on the LED replacement lamps is replacements of previous generations of LED lamps. Mm-hmm. And because they've turned and there's been improvements for more efficiency and there are utility and rebate dollars that drive a lot of that. So we have those solutions. On the luminaire side, we have integrated solutions. The modularity, modular part of it, as much as we also agree, and I'll tell you the reason why we were looking in that direction is for self-preservation. When we started out, 54 years ago, we were a lamp company. How do we come out with products that keep driving the sale of something else going back into whatever that socket is?
Sure.
So, when we looked at it, we say, we want to be able to get that return customer. We want to own the socket. You want to own the fixture. So, even though there's standardization of however it attaches to the fixture, but usually there's going to be some loyalty to whatever was in there originally. So
people will often order the SKU that's on the bulb that's in there.
Right, whatever it is. That's the term when you own the socket. They see something in there, they're just going to replace it. They're going to look for the same thing to replace it. So that was our thought process when we were developing a lot of our LED integrated solutions is be able to, why we created what I call the brick was, okay, we're going to, nobody else has come out with the standard. Let's try and do it ourselves and start developing a protocol and how that would be done. And we did it for as long as we could until the forces of economy come into play and the market starts saying, oh, I have to drive this price down. How am I going to drive the price down? We've seen it with any technology you have, whether it be lamp-based or luminaire-based. The industry tries to get to the bottom as fast as it possibly can. What comes out? All of the peripheral, non-essential costs to make it do what you want it to do, as far as having the flexibility built in. When I'm building an LED integrated fixture and just putting an LED module in, I don't need all the wiring, I don't need the sockets, I don't need all the other pieces that go into it. I'm taking cost out of it.
You're also leaving room for design. Like those sockets and wires and all that stuff takes up space of where you can build the fixture.
But it's restrictive because you're dealing with traditional shapes and sizes. When you have an integrated solution, I'm open to, I have to, obviously manage thermal, photometric issues and get all that in there, but I can make it whatever I want to make it. If it all works in the real world and how we're going to do it. And when you're looking at edge lit and all those are just a whole nother, that there is no traditional option for that. So if you want those thin, low profile, sleek fixtures where you're getting broad of light, then an edge lit panel is really the only solution. And we'll be introducing soon, and you'll see in the marketplaces now the flip to a backlit panel, which is essentially a new generation of a troffer. So it took what a flat panel was, where you had the appearance of a flat lens, and the low profile, but everybody learned, well, I don't need to be that low profile. I don't need all that material in there. I can achieve the same thing, put the LED on the back of the panel, direct light it instead of edge light it, still get DLCs, still get all my certifications, but they took cost out.
Isn't that going to look a little spotty?
No, it's actually
clean.
It's quite even. As long as you have enough distance and you're getting, whatever your beam angle out of the packages are, and you're getting the spread, I would say it's a very close to an edgelit. An edgelit is a little bit more uniform. This is slightly different. I would say if you put them side by side and you're studying them very carefully, you'll see it. But if you're doing an install and they're all that, it's very hard to tell.
How many SKUs do you guys have?
Somewhere north of 15,000.
15,000. Why are you guys still doing catalogs?
Market demands it.
And I like it. That's I see. If people that aren't watching, I have 4 catalogs in front of me, and this Satco Nuvo one is over 500 pages,
with an additional supplement and one coming next month.
And then you've got a lamp specification guide. When's the last time you've seen traditional legacy technology? And like someone new in the industry needs this.
It's where it all comes from.
And the date on it is September of 2019. So how often are you doing this?
Suck eggs, buddy. You need to read this if you're listening to this show. First, you need to take LS1. Then you need to get the Satco Nuvo lamp specification guide. I used to pour over these when I started in lighting.
Same here. I'd bring it home and I'd read it at night.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be looking through this thing and going through it and looking at the specs. It's very helpful, actually.
It is.
Whenever we start any training.
The line diagrams.
Yeah. You got pictures. You got everything.
No, line diagrams are a different way to represent something, actually. It gets into your mind better with a line diagram. Very, 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 very nice. I mean, in the age of digital, print has a new power, man.
Well, we try and service customers at all levels.
Yeah, I mean that's what Satco's got. You guys have the traditional still going, and now you're transitioning to like a new product, but you're doing it incrementally. Like it's interesting. When I was talking to Bill, it's the same thing. It's like there's power in not cutting the cord to those other things right away.
we have multiple silos,
Yes.
product silos. So, we I guess we're intuitive enough to say we're going to maintain our legacy products. In some cases, we added a few things because watching the marketplace and seeing some of the more dominant players that existed in the marketplace for the last several decades, that are maybe publicly owned companies that are driven by a
So what did you say last night to Bill?
What was it? I don't know.
Sylvania's lead vans.
Oh. Can we do that on there?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, so we said
comment.
okay, let's see if I remember now. Lead van or Sylvania's lead vans.
Yeah.
GE is current. Phillips is Signify, and Satco is
Satco.
It's still us.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you guys are. I think that this idea of transformational change. I think it's better to transition. I think it's more powerful. I think incremental changes. Slowly and not abandoning. But the word that Bill and Alan use a lot is supporting those product lines, supporting those areas still, and just saying, we're not abandoning our customers in those areas. Is it interesting? I think it's an interesting approach. It's actually what Greg and I do as distributors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mirror image of what we do on a smaller scale. We're doing the same thing you guys are doing in a sense, is that not abandoning. If somebody needs to buy light bulbs, we sell them light bulbs.
That's right.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think support is a good way of defining it. As I say, so those companies, a lot of, shuttered factories, closed them down, got out of divisions that they're no longer in. But the billions of sockets that exist in our marketplace, some of them are not ready to make the transition. Some of them are happy with what they have. They, maybe the cost of energy is not that high where they are, and they have,
maybe they're resistant to change.
Who knows? For that reason,
it's none of your business. It's none of our business. Really.
It's just not going away overnight.
Yeah.
And so, we saw them as support. We saw it as opportunity to be able to continue to do that. Certainly strains our warehouses and space to be able to bring in all the new products and new categories and still have all that inventory. So, there's just, you took a walk around just our New York facility, you can see how packed we are here. And just,
inventory is a nightmare. We talked about, I couldn't imagine doing an inventory back there, but do you guys ever worry that you're going to be left holding the hot potato? I got 7,000 F96 G12 D35 in my warehouse. Like, you're in trouble with that SKU.
But I think
we deal with it all day long. On the generational changes of the LED lamps, certainly, we put some systems in place to be able to know when a technology is transitioning, know when to start making the changes in the purchasing, maybe offer some promotional things on inventory that's going to begin to sunset at some point. So, how we operate has changed from legacy as far as how we move product through the cycle and keep things going. But with the decorative side, that's fashion. And that changes, and we don't have a choice. Either we change or we sink. So we need to be relevant in that.
It's
world.
It's almost like a fashion industry in a way.
It is. It's
like an extension of lifestyle fashion or something.
It's homes furnishing.
That's it.
Whether you're in a residential space or we focus a lot in multifamily and project lighting that we do, and this crossover there, but. So we have to look at what the trends are in hospitality, what the trends in multifamily building is, what are they looking for in style, price point, and then see what else they're putting into these facilities that we need to kind of see who's taking the lead. Is plumbing taking the lead, or is door hardware? You look at finishes, you look at designs.
Yeah, door hardware is another interesting market. There was a company that used to sell lighting and door hardware in Canada. It was I know you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
A lot of lighting distributors stay out of the design side, the Nuvo side of it. But to me, I love that because it's what people. The price doesn't really matter. I like that look. It's like, okay, that look is this price, and that's it. You buy it.
I will tell you, the message that I've been trying to communicate out to the lighting distributor, end of the market is it's a missed opportunity for them because. They may be selling the lamps, maybe some of the wiring, some of the pipe, whatever is going into a project, depending on who you are and how you go into the market. But if you're going in and there are decorative elements, I've always heard, well, I really don't deal with that. You're better off going down to the showroom down the block. They'll help you because maybe they feel more comfortable in talking about it. Maybe they're more familiar with it. So one of our initiatives is to with the strength of our distribution customers on the lighting side is to expose the fact that we have all this, and work on making everybody feel comfortable, understanding what the designs, why we have all these different, and where people are using what, and pick up that other business. The best thing we can do is try and control the package. As soon as you start letting pieces out, and then it's going to this guy, and that rep is involved, the other guy's involved. You want to keep it as tight as possible, and that's really been a lot of our philosophy. Is when I talk about the silos earlier, it's just that we have all of the categories. Whether it be in decorative, whether it be in corridor lighting, track lighting, recess down lighting, landscape lighting, step. We can retrofit with retrofit kits. We can retrofit with lamps. We have components if you need to repair something that's there. That's where all those things start coming together, and then the message is very strong that we can come in and for the most part offer you a solution in anything that you need in a building project.
And this design thing is easy. Here's what I do. I say, you want to design? Pick it out. Tell me what you want. Because I can't tell you what you're going to like. You're going to tell me.
You think
like.
Greg Erich's going to go and tell people about the mood of the room?
No.
I think you're going to go for a little country modern there, Greg.
Yeah. What? But typically, somebody's already specified that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Some architect, some the design firm has said this is what they want, and then it gets put on a plan. But usually that gets interpreted by somebody else somehow.
We're value engineered, maybe, perhaps.
You can throw a lot of
words out
there that to describe what it is, but what we do is somebody, this is typical part of the business on the decorative side. Here's a plan, and you cross it over.
Yeah, sure. Crossing it. That's enough.
And so we
lots of words for that.
We a lot of people will look at the plan.
There's distributors that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like that's their business model.
Yeah.
It's just value engineering.
Cross it over, quote.
Yeah.
Because when the building's coming in, before the building comes out of the ground, somebody has a vision. They don't have a budget.
Sure.
The money and lighting typically is the last thing that's going in.
Oh man!
And then they go, well, we don't have enough money for this. Then we need to save X on the project, and that's where what's happening.
Yeah.
And they start doing that. We're capable of doing that. We're also spec'd on many jobs. So because we do have a good, clean, well-priced, good value brand there because of the way we go to market with it.
So how often do you, sorry, I keep going back to the catalog, but it's just, how often are you doing these?
Well, on the LED lamp and the LED fixture guide, actual printing every 6 months, but updates could be electronically every 6 to 8 weeks. That's how, we introduce north of 1,000 products a year.
1,000. And Michael brought it up yesterday as we were walking. You said somebody's full-time job is just keeping this up to date. Catalogs.
Multiple people's full-time.
Multiple people. We have to.
Well, in order to do this, we have a brand manager that oversees all the different materials. We have a graphic department. We do photography, digital marketing department, and a marketing manager.
What holds it all together for you guys? Like, how you often big, there's these management trends, right? Like that some management book will come out, and then everyone's got to do that, right? One of them was like, focus on your core competency. It's like that was like a thing, like 2005 to 2009. Everyone had to focus on their core competency. But when we're gonna do what we do best and outsource the rest, this kind of stuff, right? And with Satco, I see that there's a deep roots in lighting here. Okay, right? What is it that holds it together for you guys in terms of, that higher level? What is it that you guys are doing at Satco? You know what I'm saying?
I would say what makes it work for us is us.
People.
We're really selective about who joins our team.
Okay.
Who we think is a fit. Who is we always refer to it as the Satco family.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's dad and his uncle who founded the company. They had such character and a moral set and a way of going about and doing business that you talk to any of us. That filtered down. That's all in us. Like I said, if being here 30 years and this will give away my age, but I was 29 when I got here.
Yeah, sure.
And it was a good age to learn the right thing to do, and that's where that tag really brought in, because our new marketing manager, did a lot of conversations with everybody, kind of just hearing about how they felt about the company, and that was what resonated, over and over and over again, is that the company
have integrity and sell lights. We do the light thing. We do the right. We do the right thing. We do the right thing.
We do right by our customers. We do right by the employees. We do right by the industry, and the lighting is, that's what we sell. That's what we do. We do it, when we're coming out with product, it's quality first. It's reliability. It's performance. Yes, we need to be competitive. It's always hard to walk that line, and you always hear some pushback from the field. Well, I got this guy out here, he's 20% less than me, and then I start the conversation. I got to start asking, okay, let's see the performance, let's see the certification, let's see the materials, and who is it that you're buying from? And this has nothing to do with with our company, but there's so much product being pushed into the market from unknowns. Some of them may be viable and they'll be growing companies that they get there, but others are here today, gone tomorrow.
Toronto has a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Huge problem with that.
It's all over, but it's disruptive. We've seen it happen through the industry. Every product, when CFLs, and when I remember when electronic ballast came out, and when all when T8 LED TLEDs came out, all these people, they all come into the market.
But there's a difference. There's a difference. I mean, the pace and accelerated change with the rebates, the lighting industry has been shaken like no other industry. No other existing industry has been shaken by technology like lighting. Cellular phone industry didn't exist. That's a new business. That we're walking around with smartphones. That's a new business, relatively new. Other than, there's no industry that has seen this level of constant change over the last 15 years like lighting. There's nothing like it.
Agreed. I'm saying as far as who you're dealing with and
but that's what it's more important than ever. That's what I mean.
We have seen it, all our time here, and all of the categories that we would introduce that were new wasn't as dramatic a change as LED, but when you came out with other
28-watt fluorescent T8s. Ooh, come on, man! Now we got the 25-watt.
You came out with halogen power lamps, whatever it was at the time. There was always a disruptor.
Yeah, sure.
That would come into the marketplace, and it would be price, and it would then it would challenge us to meet a price, and you'd have to stand your ground and say, listen, no, that's just not what we're selling. So the same thing applies today with LED, and when we deal with it on whether it's lamps or luminaires, there's still a lot of disruption. I think it's quieter than it was in the last few years, because I think a lot of our customers are tempted. They try it. They get burned. They don't do it again. I always point out, know who you're buying from, know if they're, how long they've been in business. And one key thing I always ask, do they have product liability insurance?
There you are. Yeah.
That, I say, because that's usually the eye opener to anybody.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because if you're buying from some guy that says, all right, I'll sell you this TLED, I'll sell it to you for $1.50,
sure,
whatever number. Okay, that's a great price, and it's got DLC where it shows me all that. Yeah, it's got whatever if they've got it and they put it out there.
Sure.
Now you take that lamp, and it goes into a building. Now let's say the lamp is not even at fault, but the building has a fire, and the lamp is installed in a luminaire in the building where the fire was. The insurance company is going to, subrogate. They're going to go through and start investigating everything that was in there and get every product, and then ask you to represent yourself in that situation because your product was involved in it at some point. So normally the first thing you would do is go back to wherever you got it from. I said, I got a problem. And then whoever supplied it, their insurance company would get involved. And if they have to hire an attorney and defend you and do all that, you need to represent yourself. So now, if whoever you purchased this does not have the proper prior product liability insurance, the next one in line is whoever supplied it, our customer. So there's big risk factors in that.
When people get killed, everybody gets sued. Right. Okay, it's
I'm not saying got killed. There's fire.
No, but
it's going to go extreme here.
No, but I mean seriously, if somebody gets hurt by something, there's a search for liability.
Right, but if the product was at fault,
that's why insurance. Yeah,
whoever supplied that, it goes
product
back
liability. So, and you guys carry a product liability insurance policy on everything you sell.
Absolutely.
Okay. I never heard that before. Have you ever heard
either?
That?
No,
Something
we're going to start asking people.
Well, I like I said, I bring it up because
can you get a certificate of insurance for that from?
Sure.
Huh. Interesting. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I'm still in my head on that.
I bring it up simply because it's the comparisons of price versus performance, quality, and who you're dealing with.
Sure,
the full package. We're gonna have everything.
And I said, regardless if it's us or anybody that we think is a fair and equal competitor to who we are and what we're selling. But it's even if there's no catastrophic issue, say the product fails in a year and a half. Somebody comes back.
That never happens.
It's never going to happen. But hypothetically, if it happens, we're gonna step up and take care of it. You don't know where you are in a year and a half with somebody you just met.
Oh, for sure.
Before. So
for sure.
Those are the struggles with with a lot of that stuff. But that's part of the whole package.
Brian, thank you for welcoming us to Long Island here, showing us around yesterday, the conversation last night here at the at your head offices of Satco here in Long Island, New York. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast.
Yeah, it's great. You guys are wonderful. Thank you.
Folks. The biggest thanks goes to you, the listener. Always an honor to serve you and have these conversations. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
SATCO.com, baby. Check out their new website, Greg. Woo!
That's right. All fancied up and brand new for 2020. They have light bulbs, decorative lighting, functional lighting, components, support center, drop downs, everything you need, man. They have a ton of product, as we talked about and as we saw in person, how much they have. Now they've got to digitalize it online where we need it. It's
Billy
awesome.
Gilden's making moves, man. He's still making moves. Billy, thank you for having us down in Long Island, and for Brian for coming on the show and talking about, taking the time to talk with us. It's always a pleasure and an honor to speak with such, people that have such deep roots in the lighting business as a Satco, our other sponsors out there. We really appreciate the time we spend with them. Of course, Satco is going to be at the Nailed Convention in Biloxi, Mississippi. What are you doing, son? You monkeying around with light bulbs? Get down to the Nailed Convention. April 19th to 23rd. We got an amazing pre-convention program. That's right. Coming on Sunday. Lots of great stuff going on. I got an first-round NHL draft pick coming to the game. He's going to be there Sunday, Monday. He's going to be putting on a show called Showing Up for Yourself Every Day. How do you do that? Creating a high-performance team. And then we're going to have one-on-one sessions with him where you can sit down with him for 20 minutes and talk about your business, your life, whatever it is you want. We're going to have an Amazon and social media expert there in the pre-convention Sunday, Monday, and he's going to be giving presentations, how to sell lights on social media. Can you do it? Can you not do it? Amazon, marketplaces. And then you can have a 20-minute session with him, all in the pre-convention before it even starts, Greggy.
That's right. It's going to be awesome. Pre, post, during. Do it all.
We're doing it all. We're just taking that whole Biloxi week and we're taking over Biloxi. We're bringing all the peeps in. So come on down, 19th to 23rd. It's going to be the best show in the game. All the shows coming out. I'm going to all of them. So I'm going to tell you right now that this one's going to be the bomb. Go to naild.org, folks. And of course, Brian, thanks for having us down in Long Island. I think I might have said that already. And Greg, how are you doing today?
Hey, good. Let's start all over again. No, I love it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Written on the rectory wall, there's a sign there for all. You are lost, Lord is there to find you.